is set to command ghetto structures, ghetto gangs, to go to Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park, to go and burn it down. They have explosives that they're going to use, okay? Right now, they're in Nakivubo Stadium, and they're set to burn Owino Market and Chisenyi Market at 3 a.m. tonight, before morning. Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park will be set ablaze by Museveni through Damulira. Damulira. The military at Makindye are on standstill, meaning that they should not go and rescue or make any rescue attempts. This is a decision that's final, that they are going to make sure those places burn. All Kampala police is on standby to control the crowds or people, as they try to rescue their things and all of that. Like as I told you earlier, Museveni has promised that this time he's going to take care of the wealthy, and because he has been taking care of the poor. So even the person who makes chapati will not thrive doing what they do, just making chapati. He will make sure that even access to flour is too much. It will cost too much, or they will charge too much for wherever they have to practice or do their, put their stands and things like that. You have seen KCCA already come out to do, to make it difficult for business people to operate in Kampala City. So pass the message on. This is a very, very, very important security alert. Damulira with the ghetto structures or the ghetto gangs are going to attack and burn down Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park tonight, maybe 1 hour away. It is set to happen at 3 a.m. The people who have the explosives are in Nachivubo Stadium, the stadium of, what is his name? The wealthy man, the supposed wealthy man who manages the Museveni's wealth. Ham. They are already in Nachivubo. They are waiting for a go-ahead to go and burn Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park. So let people know, let everybody in, especially those who are around the area, so that they can be safe, do what they can do to try to rescue the situation. But just know it is Museveni and nobody else. No one else but him. Okay, going into what I had prepared earlier. Speaking about Museveni and how he operates, many of you know that most of the times when Museveni works with someone or somebody comes to their government, like Nsivambi, right? Nsivambi just moved into NRM today publicly and we saw it. There's more than likely something that is bringing him to Museveni because he cannot say no. It is likely that either there's a crime tied to him, or there is something that he has done that makes him completely embarrassed to exist away from Museveni because he's teasing him or blackmailing him. That is just one example. It may not be that necessarily because he just crossed over, but for everybody else that I'm going to speak about, especially the church people, the church leaders, how they become, like Kazimba Mugalu, how they become to those positions. People like Pastor Kakande, people like those, how they become who they are. People like Nabanja, people who cannot say no. In fact, when somebody leaves Museveni's government, they leave and never say or raise their head again because of what Museveni is holding against them. Nti abamalamo obuntu, like you don't have your dignity anymore. In fact, it's usually maybe a staged killing that happened in your compound, in your home, or it is videos that are, like sex videos that are they set people up and record and use prostitutes, and these prostitutes have these videos that they can release it at any time, that you never can lift your head if you say no. In fact, you can never say no to Museveni. And if you are done, and if he's done with you, even when you leave service of Museveni, you cannot come out there and exist like publicly, and go to TVs or radios and speak about Museveni. Basically, you cannot change from being a Museveni supporter, or you just be quiet and wait for your death. Most people that have left the government, you've seen, they will never become anything else. That's because he has something he holds over their head. Okay? Usually a crime. All right. Usually, by nature, the next president of a country comes from the embodiment of a government that's previous, okay? Because somehow, maybe they worked with the government in some capacity. Maybe they were in a certain arm of the government. Maybe they were members of parliament. Maybe they were, military, this or that. Or maybe they worked in the office of the presidency, something like that. But you will never see that anybody like that comes off of Museveni's government. That is because when Museveni takes you in, he takes you with a catch, with bait. He takes you in with something so bad that you've done, or he maims you for doing, that there's no way you will feel enough capacity, that you will not feel like you are enough to come out and challenge him. That is why you see all these leaders who have worked with Museveni you will never see them, the likes of if they're not killed, they're existing but cannot do anything. The likes of chief justices or the likes of ministers that he has had in his government, none of them can dare come out and run against Museveni. That thing with Amama Mbabazi, that was just fake. Like he makes up things about opposition. The Amama Mbabazis were fake. Besigye is fake, okay? There is no real person with an independent mind who has worked for Museveni or under his government that comes out and says, now it's my turn to come and challenge this man and maybe rise to power or rise above his ranking. Never. You're going to be surprised about how, especially the Church of Uganda, gains leadership or comes into leadership of that church, and how they remain preaching Museveni, even if they could be bipartisan, and say, let us now try to raise a new leader. They can't. Reason being that there are things which Museveni has on them that they can never even think about doing otherwise. Okay? For example, all pastors or Anglican leaders, church leaders, there is a place called Luwero Kasana, a church, where all pastors who will become the leader of the Church of Uganda start from. They start from that church. And there is a particular reason why. Because that place is where Museveni has his bait, where he has set up women or prostitutes or all kinds of, temptations, that when a preacher, one of those, like the leaders who become the Church of Uganda leader, I don't know about the one that came from West Nile. I forget his name. I'm not sure about that one. But the ones the recent times who have come into the leadership of Church of Uganda or the churches in Uganda have gone through a place called Kasana in Luwero. In fact, they talk about it very much. This place is where Museveni sets up young women and prostitutes to come and seduce the men into sleeping with them, and the women are required to take videos of them. These are pastors. I'm not talking about regular people, regular Ugandans waking up, going to work, coming home, taking care of your family. No. These are like people of high places in authority in the church. This church is where they're groomed. But in that church is an infestation of evil, of Museveni's doing an arrangement where these pastors go and are video recorded behaving in an ungodly way. So when Museveni then moves that pastor into a position of authority, he has this bait on them. Okay? He has it on them such that if they ever try not to say to follow what Museveni is asking them to do, like for example, they have to perform Museveni's campaigns without fail. The churches are under Museveni's wing to campaign for him every time he's running for office, because he has them in a way that they're too embarrassed to say no. So these women are required to take these videos and send them to Museveni and his people. It is the reason why this is something that Museveni uses. In fact, even in northern Uganda, when the LRA war was happening, a lot of the people who went through that war, men or women, will tell you that they used sex very much to humiliate and dehumanize people, okay? Men were sodomized in front of their children and wives by these people who so-called LRA, who are Museveni's people. LRA is Museveni, like M23 is Museveni. Like, there's that other one in Congo, ADF. All those are Museveni factions. He just shows up with a different mask or face every time. So even the prisoners, the political prisoners who are in prison will tell you that every time they've been arrested, sex is used. It's not even sex. It's sodomy, rape, things like those are used to make these people inhuman, to demoralize them, to make you completely useless. They use themselves, tools, sticks, whatever they can find. So it is in the same way that Museveni has a thing that he holds over people that he uses. But I'm going to give you all the examples so you can see how evil these Rwandese people are. They need to go. They must go. So after these people, these church leaders when they are in Luero, this Kasana place that they talk about a lot, Kasana somewhere there in Luero. This is a church where they stage all these things that happen. After the videos are with Museveni, okay? When he appoints them to go to certain places and they start acting like this, that, the other, Museveni asks these women to share bites of these videos with these individuals of high places now, who we feel like we are, when you go to church, you feel different. You feel you feel warmth. You feel like you should be there, like a place of righteousness. But these men or these people of the church are belittled by just being, in these videos and doing Museveni's work endlessly. So he keeps the videos, and all the church leaders have a video that Museveni possesses with him. So he has a copy, and also the leaders have a copy. And when Museveni asks them to do anything, they just have to. They have no choice. For example, when they refuse to do something, in fact, some people even say Katikiro. Also, Museveni has something on him. Katikiro, and I don't like to speak very much about this, but if you guys do remember the actors of a certain show, a drama show in Uganda, that anybody could remind me, that used to happen in Kampala, Nakawunde and that group, okay? That company eventually became a big like not appropriate organization where they started to do sex trafficking of young girls and women to different parts of the world and things like that. And so during that time, Museveni has captured a lot of information, including Katikkiro of Buganda. So, Bibao, that's right. Hafra, thank you so much. Bibao. That thing died down, the show died down, but the people continued with brothels. A brothel is where they go and do all these things. So, people like the Katikkiros and all these people in high places started going to these places. And there's all manner of videos that are recorded. Yes, John, that's true. All manners of videos recorded. That is why sometimes you think that you expect the Katikkiro to be on a certain side, but he can't because of all these things that are held over their head. The ebonies, yes. Thank you. Chuka change. Thank you. All political prisoners have the same thing. In fact, Pastor Serwada is said to have several with Museveni videos that Pastor Serwada cannot act against what Museveni asks him to do. He can't, because he has no leg to stand on. Because as soon as what they have on him is released, he's good as dead. Okay? So it's a common thing that Museveni uses. A funny thing also is Nabanja is one of those victims. If you do remember the times that she would go to the gym and try to, do exercise and show how strong she is and all of that. Yes, John, I remember that one. That's Life Mwatu, yes. Nabanja was staged by those gym guys. Museveni set up those gym guys and they did some things with Nabanja and recorded videos with Nabanja and sent them to Museveni. That is why when Nabanja is thrown from her place, whatever she's doing now for Museveni, she will not lift her head to say anything or do anything further. Okay? So, that is the same thing that he wanted, Museveni was trying to do to the NUP leaders. The good thing about us having His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is that he's a man without any dirty spot. The man is clean. There's no history of girlfriends or women here and there or, inappropriate behavior. There's none of that. But that doesn't stop Museveni from doing things like that. He has set up people, several times, women, to come and act as, or even act out to pretend as if Bobby Wine's done something to them, or Lope, Senyonyi, or Secretary General, all of the executives of NUP. Museveni has tried to plant women to try to derail them or have something he can have on them. But all of that has failed because we have a principled party and members. That is why you will see people from other parties just basically go and hand themselves over to the NRM. Most of the time, it's because they've done something. An example is Chameleon. You all know that Chameleon at one point even liked Bobby Wine. Okay, when His Excellency first started campaigning or came out and became an opposition, Chameleon sort of wanted to, associate with him. But if you do remember that there was somebody who was killed by Chameleon or on his property, Museveni has that to dangle over him such that even if Chameleon wants to be in the opposition, he can't. There's no way. Because he has something on him. So for most people, Museveni has something that is holding over their head so that they can't be any different. And the worst thing is to the church, which is where a lot of us, end up or have faith in or believe in. Another person that that's why Nabanja only goes to burials. And, she's good for nothing. But she cannot say or have an opinion about anything. Like, Museveni likes to use women to take up positions because he feels like they're not a threat. And most of the time, he controls them. But Nabanja, with that event that happened, you see, she no longer goes to the gym and acts like, she's all of that. No more, because there's videos of the gym guys messing with her. It's embarrassing, but that's what it does. Even priests, especially the ones who are arrested, who sometimes end up in prison, the one thing that Museveni gives them is the one thing, just like he does to the Muslims, he feeds them pork. The one thing that the priests do not do is marry, right? Or have sexual relations. Museveni makes it a point to bring women to them so that they have no self-esteem anymore. They don't feel whole. In fact, they lose their humanness or what God made them to be. That is why certain priests who have been arrested by Museveni will tell you that that is something that they do. Even Muslims who are in jail will tell you that they were fed pork because he wants to dehumanize them so that even when they come out, they don't have a leg to stand on. Another person, anytime he's going to give somebody a position, watch something. There's what's going on with the the speakership seat right now. I know Mao is in line for it or something like that. Honorable Mao obviously has bait already or is going to be set up for something like this. So, in essence, Mao has been in the opposition and has spoken very ill about Museveni. And these people don't forget things like that. It's going to take a couple of things. Even if he may stay speaker for a little bit of time, which actually, it looks like Mao is set to get that seat because I understand the leaders from Acholi have said and have spoken with Salim Saleh, have told Salim Saleh that if he wants to continue staying in the northern region, Mao must get the speakership position because, firstly, Jacob Olanya was the one in that seat when he passed away, and he never finished his term. The other reason is that Acholi no longer has a prominent seat in parliament or in the government because the Chief Justice resigned or the Chief Justice retired. Chief Justice Owindolo. So because of that, that's why you see Salim Saleh meeting with Anita Among. I don't know who's requesting who, but Salim Saleh is under pressure from northern Uganda to give a high position in the government to the Acholi sub-region. The children of Acholi have said, you're joking. If you don't give this to us, you might as well pack yourself and leave Acholi sub-region because we no longer have a prominent position in this government. So Mao is obviously edging for that seat. As you can see, Kaine Mizimu is supporting him very strongly. And they've also felt like Anita Among is not supportive or respectful of Muhoozi. Therefore, Muhoozi feels like he needs his allegiance. He needs people in line to support him or stay on his side. So far, Anita Among is on the left, and he wants people on his right. So Salim Saleh is going to make sure or make it a point that Mao is elected to speakership position. Now, that does not mean that Mao is going to win this out of merit. It is possible that Mao will have something on him. Museveni will have something on Mao. First of all, Mao used to speak very bad or very truthfully against Museveni. And all those videos, social media never forgets. All of that is still stored. And Museveni has things like that. So when he uses Mao for what he wants Mao to do, such as there's a text message circulating today that was sent within the parliament to different MPs to request them to vote for the bill that is coming to be discussed in parliament. There's a new bill that's going to be introduced requiring that presidents be elected in parliament. So I got a text message that was circulating amongst the members of parliament stating that everyone should vote for that bill for it to pass so that the president is now elected in parliament. With that coming, Mao will be incoming at the time as speaker, and then he will do all the dirty deeds. Whatever Museveni wants, Mao will have to pass without fail. So, being that Museveni is a very dirty person, somehow Mao will have to get eliminated. Chief Justice Owinjolo is still a target. The new CJ Nzeja has been asked by Museveni to do away with Chief Justice somehow. It is possible that it's going to be some kind of poison like they did with the Deus Sunday in Masaka, which is the same way that Aronda Nyakirima left us. Same way. So when he uses you, he finds time and gets rid of you as well. So I don't know why we don't understand, or people who work for Museveni, the ones who are not yet so far into it, the ones who don't have the bait, why are you still lingering there? Why are you still waiting for something to go wrong, for you to be penalized as a person, instead of choosing to go the right way? It is time to try to be on the right side of history, because things are changing, and they're changing really, really fast. So, going forward with how Museveni holds bait on everyone who he works with, I want to give you an example that is true, that is real, that is a shameful moment in one of our church leaders. Pastor Kayanja. Do you know why Pastor Kayanja, even if he wants to say anything or be on the side of somebody else, he can't? Get this. Pastor Kayanja is gay or bisexual. Okay? Pastor Kayanja has been filmed with young men in his church and at home. And Museveni has those videos. One time, Pastor Kayanja tried to say no to the orders of Museveni. And Museveni shared with him the recorded videos when he was doing something with young men. Museveni and Kayanja and his wife were rushed into State House, where the State House where Museveni is, State House. And what he did with them was to show them those videos and promise to release them as soon as Kayanja refuses to do what he has asked him to do. You know, you get tired of performing or taking orders over and over and over again. And Museveni never stops. There's no limit to say, you know, if you do this for me, then we're done. Okay, I squashed the video and we're done. No. That same video, in fact, he sets more bait for you to get into more traps, to make your record even worse with updates, so that when you feel like you're used to something that he has shown you, he has a new one. And you didn't even know that that was happening. So Pastor Kayanja had gone to State House with his wife, and Museveni showed them the videos, and they begged him both on their knees. You see Pastor Kayanja being all bold and big out here. But when they are with this man who believes or act like a semi-god, they are nothing. Pastor Kayanja and Jessica Kayanja went on their knees and begged Museveni to forgive them, or to just forget the video, that they would do what they're doing. That Kayanja church, Sam, yes, the Kayanja church is full of young men and women behaving as if it's a church, but in the background, you know, he's sodomizing these young men. He's treating them the wrong way. He's not preaching or staying true to what he should be doing. So both Pastor Kayanja and his wife were you know, they were treated to that personally at the State House. So we all saw the Geneva conference today. Thank you so much, Mr. President. You did a wonderful job. It was concise, it was precise and to the point, and you were poised. Not you know, there's enough to upset somebody and be emotional, but you were straight to the point, and you got what needed to be gotten out, and you expressed our message and our feelings properly to the Geneva conference. Thank you very much, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. The other thing is Museveni is trying to hijack social media, such as Facebook, X, especially that for today's event. This was something that I prepared to come yesterday. That is why you see things like Sivambi's crossover to the NRM and things like that. Those were all intended to divert attention from trying to focus and wait and pay attention to the Geneva conference with His Excellency. Museveni also wants to take over Busabala, which is His Excellency Bobby Wine's home in Magere. But let me just say this, that the home or the places where Nelson Mandela, for example, the island where he was imprisoned and his home and the places where he lived or passed through during the apartheid are places now that have become, I would say, tourist attractions or places of very, very high value and importance. So, in essence, what Museveni wants to do to capture the home of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is, it works for us, or in favor of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, because really everything that is happening as it should, is unfolding as it should. And Museveni has not made any more mistakes than he's doing right now with everything he tries to do against His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu or the people of Uganda. So just because he's trying to do these things, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's registering, in a positive way. So in the efforts that he wants to own the place or plant dead bodies or try to incriminate His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu or paint him a terrorist and things like that, he is portraying what he truly is, which is the evil person that he always has been. Okay? So if you see a lot of soldiers or SFCs or all the other military or armed forces on the land continuously at Busabala, just know that he's attempting to try to change or take ownership of that place. Remember when they raided Bobby Wine's home, they took all of his land documents, his titles, his deeds for the land. A lot of wealth or property on the land was taken, which now I believe they're trying to convert it to make it their own. These Rwandese people, they've eyed that land for a very long time and they feel like this is the right opportunity. So if you see a lot of SFC and all those people there, it is what they're trying to do. Several NUP leaders have crossed or have been paid up to be on the side of the NRM. This one will not surprise you. Balimwezo has fully, without coming out yet, been working for the NRM. He has been paid. If you remember at the church of Pastor Kayanja, when he was with Balamu and the other church leaders, they were talking about this, that, and the other, and Balimwezo ended up saying something like, just bring the contracts or bring the money, let's start work. It is because he was already feeling like part of them without coming out to say surely that he has crossed. But we have credible information that Balimwezo is now on the NRM side. And that makes him a spy in NUP if he stays and seems to act like a NUP member of parliament or a NUP party member. Balimwezo has been paid by the NRM, Museveni's government. In fact, Balimwezo will be part of the team of the opposition that will go and attend Museveni's swearing-in ceremony. Yes, John. One Love Beach, Busabala. That's right. That's the place that Museveni is taking over. Okay, so Balimwezo has also signed contracts or MOUs with the NRM to work for them, and he has been paid lots and lots of money. So be careful for the true party members who may be in the circles of Balimwezo or tending to work with him somehow. Just know that we are aware and we know, and like Mpuga used to exist among us Snoop members, it is dangerous to now associate with somebody like Balimwezo because of his intentions and that the fact that he has been highly compromised. In fact, His Excellency's disappearance or staying away has helped us a lot because we've found a lot of people who were either one leg here and there or people who were unfaithful to the party. Somehow we've known who is for us and who isn't, which is a blessing because now we know to be careful. I saw a picture of Balimwezo and Nubian Lee. So I'm sure Nubian Lee is aware of this already. So just for anybody else, just be careful. Okay. The other thing they're going to start doing is stealing number plates. I think I already heard that somewhere on social media. So if you have, they're doing it. They're stealing license plates. This is a plan that has been arranged with Museveni, Kutesa, Ghetto Structures, Salim Saleh, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. It looks to me like Salim Saleh is all for chaos. Underground chaos type thing. Sorry, somebody tried to call me. Because there's a lot of violence happening locally, such as people being killed, people being hit with with sticks or mitaimbwa, things like that. So it is part of Kaihura, Muhozi, Salim Saleh, ghetto structures, Kutesa, Museveni, to try to make people stay away from either late nights or walk at night, or, because Museveni fears that people can regroup and protest and try to take him away from the presidency. So there will be a lot of thieves. There will be some arrested. Even if they get arrested, they will be released because they are working for the likes of Muhozi and Kaihura. Kaihura is not anybody currently, because if you remember, Kaihura is sanctioned by the US and I believe Europe. So with all of that anger, Kaihura works from underground. He casts a web. Kaihura was part of the killings or the disappearing of, people like what is the policeman who, Kawesi, Kaihura was part of that. The people who shot Katumba's daughter, General Katumba's daughter, that ruckus, Kaihura was in the web of that. Anything that's in streets, local, trying to, cause chaos or deter people from living their just a normal life, it's because Kaihura and the web of these guys are operating underneath. So when people are attacked within these days, so I'm talking about regular working people, you go to work in the morning, you leave work and go home, or go pick up your children to go home, or go to pick up some food to take home to cook and things like. The regular person is going to be attacked, attacked by these. Some of them are going to be on borders, and they'll just ride in and do something to you. They may be killing people. They'll take those license plates. Those license plates will end up in the premises or vehicles or anything associated with executives of NUP party. Because what Museveni wants more than anything is to brand NUP a terrorist organization. If he can get that successfully, I think he feels like he will have finished the opposition in Uganda. Because remember, the rest work for him. Okay? The rest work for Museveni. Don't be fooled by BSJ or FDC. Imagine every opposition is working in Museveni's government. Yes, Jane, Felix Kawesi, I remember. The death of Kawesi, the mysterious deaths of people in Kampala or in Uganda who are trying to do the right thing. People in police, ASPs, and people who, feel like they're truthfully handling things. When Museveni figures out that you are actually doing the right thing for Ugandans, Kaihura is sent over to go and, do something to you or destroy you. So those thieves are going to be attacking people. So be watchful, be mindful. I don't know if reporting means anything, because I feel like Ugandans are going to have to take care of themselves. Because you can't rely on the police that works for Museveni. You can't rely on the military that works for Museveni for a rescue. So if anybody goes to report an event like that, and yet the perpetrators are sent by Museveni and his people, really, you are, it's suicide each way. You are not going to be rescued. The police don't work for you anymore. So Ugandans, somehow, we're going to have to come up with a way to stay safe, to protect yourself. I can't imagine what it could look like. But until we try to do something for ourselves, I don't believe that we are safe or that anyone is safe in Uganda. Nobody. So, what Museveni wants to do is, with this activity of raiding people and taking away license plates and all of that, he wants to create a rift between the rich and the poor. Museveni mentioned that this time he's back in government to work for the rich. But what really that means is that he's going to strip the rich Ugandans of their wealth and give it away to his Rwandese people. As I mentioned in a couple of videos behind, or recently, some of the wealth of the Museveni people is now going to be transferred from like the likes of Ham or Sudir, because those people manage the wealth of these people. The schools like CJ Muyingo manages a few of the Janet family schools. That wealth is going to be now transferred to their own people or new disguises of owners, meaning that he has the opportunity to seize more from the other wealthy people that are indigenous Ugandans, to impoverish them and make them easy to manage. Museveni believes in a poor Uganda. In fact, he has said and repeated it many times, he is going to make Ugandans feel it this time, because he feels like Ugandans have caused him to lose respect in the Western world, and Ugandans now hate him. He used to be the King of Hearts, but Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, His Excellency, is now the King of Hearts to everybody in Uganda. So, in his efforts to revenge, he's going to make sure Ugandans are impoverished. I am talking poor, 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 poor. So this license plate thing is to create a rift between the rich and the poor, because the poor are going to be the ones hurting the rich. Because the poor will be on foot, the poor will be on boda bodas, the poor will be on simple means of transport, and the rich will be in their vehicles. They'll lose license plates, they will get hit, they will get murdered, and so the poor will, there'll be an extra gap between those two, kind of like the peasants and the bourgeoisies in older European history. Okay, so that's what he's trying to, because he believes that's manageable. And when those people come and attack, okay, those thieves or the gangs, the ghetto gangs or whatever that Damulira and Kaihura use, when they come to attack these, those ones in their vehicles and cause these atrocities, they have been taught to say or chant, Kabanje, President Wafe Bamubakalulu, to say, you stole our election, we are here to request our win or command or ask for our win by force. That is why we're doing this to you. So while they hit you or do whatever to you, they're going to be chanting things like that, and they will also chant Allahu Akbar. I'm going to come up later with another intention that Museveni plans on getting into to successfully break up religions or cause religious wars, because he believes that is the reason why the Nigerian president, who's like 200 years old, is a successful president. It's because the Muslims and Christians are constantly fighting each other that they don't have time to fight him. So, Jane, thank you. Nabukeda Ked, yes. That's one of the wealth of the Museveni family. So anyways, these people who are going to be killing people with machetes or logs or taking number plates or just burning vehicles with people are going to be chanting things that resemble Nup chants. People power, our power, Kabanje, our presidents win, things like that. So be mindful when you hear something like that. It is not Nup members, because Museveni just wants to brand Nup members terrorists. It is actually the ghetto structures set up by the Kaihura people. Okay? There will also be countrywide theft. So this Chitaimbwa thing that's going to start hitting the people, it's going to be countrywide, not just in the city. So you can't say this only happens in Kampala. No. Museveni wants to break up a possibility of people gathering or getting together or staying together to cause his government to fall. Okay? Like he promised them that he's going to work on the rich in this government, that's what it's supposed to mean. He also wants to reduce traffic jam in Kampala. Once those license plates are located in the NUP executive members, maybe home or business or in their vehicles, anywhere where they can be tied to a NUP executive member or leader, Museveni will then pick up each and every one of them. He wants to arrest and put all of them in jail. Okay? He wants all NUP members, executives, the leaders, all in prison. So either by killing people and dropping them in their homes or locations where they do business, or he's going to have these licenses that are going to have bloody history because the owners of the vehicles will find them and they will be gone or dead or killed. Then he will tie those to the NUP leaders. Those vehicles that will have license plates taken off, or motors or border borders which will lose those, will go or be used in South Sudan. So Museveni is not just stressing only Ugandans out. Museveni is also holding operations in South Sudan. So anywhere where you see instability in East Africa, it's Museveni and Kagame. Those two are the bulldozers of East Africa. So those vehicles will get lost. So apparently you will not just lose a license plate, but you potentially could lose your vehicle, and those will be taken to South Sudan. All right. He would like to arrest especially Namuga and Keretanyi. So anybody who knows those members of parliament, I believe Keretanyi just won the election. I'm not sure about Namuga. I know that she's an MP. But Nterekanyi is very, very contested by the Museveni people because one of Museveni's people was defeated by him. Some number plates are going to be buried in Magere because you know that Museveni wants to make sure that NUP, okay, that the members of NUP are a terrorist organization, and in fact that their leader is even worse. Besides burying dead people or NUP members who Museveni killed at Magere, which is the residency of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he's also going to bury these license plates or plate numbers. So just know that when things change, which, you know, he's very predictable in what he does, and it's easy to uncover and trace where these Rwandese people connect the dots, how these Rwandese people operate. They are not smart people. They're not brilliant people. You know, many a times Museveni has only been successful because Ugandans were not informed. But now that we are informed, whatever he does is a really foolish effort and always trackable. Always connect the dots, it ends up with him somehow. So even if he plants all of these things, there is no way that we can trace this back to him. Okay? I think that is what I have for now, but let me repeat the security alert for people who have just come in. In about, I think we have about an hour or less, Damulira, sent by Museveni to set Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park ablaze tonight. The people who are supposed to perform this atrocity are in Nachivubo Stadium, the Nachivubo of Ham. They're in a room with explosives, and they're supposed to go there any time from now. If you hear that Owino and Nachivubo have been burned, please share this video so that we can have some recourse with it. When they do, it is Museveni. The police have been asked to keep people under control, basically to keep them away from trying to go and save what is left for them. And the military have been in Makindye, at Makindye barracks, have been asked to stand still. Standing still means they should not go anywhere. Even if the people are complaining or crying or are suffering, like if it's burning, they can't go to try to save these people. How horrible is that? Yesterday there was another fire that happened around the NUP offices in Kamocha. That is obviously another act of this man, this crazy president, this crazy Museveni. his intention is to burn all those areas and give them to Rwandese to operate and run businesses and build. So when you see fires happening, just know that it is indeed his efforts to achieve what his Rwandese occupation plans are. He's also going to burn schools, unfortunately without children in there. You know, be careful as much as possible. Like I said, I'm a mother. It is hard for me to tell you what to do with your children. We pray for the best, but knowledge is power. So just know, any place that burns, yesterday, you know, just so that he can try to get attention away from the Geneva conference, he ordered his people, the Damu leaders, to go and burn down the offices of the Electoral Commission. You know, that's how crazy and how much he doesn't care for us. So let us stay hopeful. I will be back. I have some more notes that I need to work on, and I'll get back to you. But thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Please share the security alert about the fires at Owino Market and the taxi park. And we will be together again tomorrow. I'll be more prepared with other new things. There's a lot going on. A lot. One thing I want to leave you with is that he plans on starting religious wars. So some churches are going to be burned by Muslims or dressed as Muslim people, and then some mosques are going to be burned by people who are believed to be Christian. What Museveni wants to see is them fighting each other so that they're not fighting him. In that case, just know that anything that goes wrong that hurts Ugandans is Museveni. Anything that is out of the ordinary, even if it looks somewhat ordinary, it's Museveni. Any unfair treatment, any killings, any adversities, even if it looks like a natural calamity, it is Museveni, because he engineers things like that. His plans to create a huge earthquake type thing where he'll set up bombs in the mountains is still a possibility. So even if we mention things like these where we think he may cancel or, you know, hold back and reintroduce, just remember to stay careful if you are in those types of places where we have some warnings about what he's going to do. I thank you all for being here today. That is the end of my video. I love you. I love Uganda, and I hope you're all going to stay safe and stay well. My name is Lady Winnie, and today is February the 18th, 2026. I love being here, but let me go prepare myself a bit more, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great night. Thank you. Or morning or afternoon. Bye-bye. Hello. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are. Welcome, welcome. My name is Lady. I am back here today to give you a quick security alert. Everyone, I have a quick security alert. Anybody home? Quick security alert. I may come back later with something more, but I have a quick security alert to give you. Anybody, especially in Uganda, Museveni is planning a big fire to burn Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park. He's planning to do that in the next, I think, hour and a half. Damulira is commanding the ghetto gangs who are supposed to do this. We just got this information, so I'm going to relay it very quickly as I get into my other information that I prepared for today. This one is very, very urgent. Today is February 18th. Uganda might be the 19th already. I believe at 3 a.m. in the morning, right now, Damulira is set to command ghetto structures, ghetto gangs, to go to Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park, to go and burn it down. They have explosives that they're going to use, okay? Right now, they're in Nakivubo Stadium. And they're set to burn Owino Market and Chisenyi Market at 3 a.m. tonight, before morning. Owino Market and Chisenyi Taxi Park will be